Who here has read The Diary of Anne Frank? I think you may not have read the whole thing. I hadn't. The Diary of Anne Frank, as it was originally published and as it's still generally read in schools, is actually half the length of the original text. It was highly censored to exclude moments of odd comedy, Anne's harsh criticisms of her family members, her observations at feeling desire at the sight of female nudes in paintings, very vivid descriptions of her vulva, her clitoris. Anne says it's surprising to think of a man entering her vaginal opening or a baby emerging because it's difficult enough to insert an index finger. This is true. You can look it up. My research, which takes the form of film and digital media arts practice, is interested in the way that history is tightly disciplined. Hayden White, who taught here at UC Santa Cruz, spoke of history not as a monolithic science, but rather as a genre of literature, which, as such, deploys literary techniques to perform authority, authenticity, reliability, logic. I'm interested in the forms that history is not supposed to take. I am currently making a book of creative interventions into the censored portions of The Diary of Anne Frank, a collection of poems, translations, images, misinterpretations. I'm trying to ask what has been excised from the historical record and what are the social and political motivations behind these omissions? What are the limits of appropriate representations of the traumatic past? And what happens when we rub up against them or transgress them? How might creative practices like my own reactivate these untold stories and shed new light on past events, but more importantly, critique the historical methods themselves? Why am I making this work now? That's a really good question. I wake up every morning and I read the news, and I'm overwhelmed with skepticism at the capacity for traditional, sober forms of historical storytelling to account for our current political moment. I think that we require alternative genres, comedy, horror, shock, obscenity, in order to give a better picture, both in terms of accuracy and radicality, of both the traumatic past and the present. Thank you so much.